Hey guys, it's me Kate again. So this video is my TBR for Witch-a-thon round 2, which is happening from August 1st until September 5th. There's a bunch of co-hosts. I'll leave one of the announcement videos down below for sure. I would film this before month of August began, but from July 21st to July 31st I was on family trip to Seaside and on one of the islands, and the place we been to has really shitty internet. Like half of the time it doesn't work, no matter if you're on Wi-Fi or your own hotspot, because the internet in the whole place is shitty, as it's basically the island itself got its name by it being basically made of this type of rock, which when water would get into it, it washes away, and it's really which ends up being a really big, and leaves really big slopes in the rock. And because of all of those rocks, because it's one of that is one of the islands that are actually for top of the mountain before last sea expansion in the last ice age, and all of that rock actually interrupts radio waves, and the announcements all came in those last 10 days, and I couldn't film my TBR, but I'm finally getting to it, and you're seeing this hopefully tomorrow from when I'm filming this, so it will still be in the first few days in the month, so not too late. So basically for this part of the readathon we are in covens, and each coven has its own bingo board, and I will be aiming to fulfill all of the bingos on the board of my coven, but you don't have to, because this whole readathon is designed to be a really chill. But I am overachiever and will love the fact that I could add a bunch more books on my TBR, because I am as I got into college, I have summer break up until really late September, early October, because that's when university year starts in Croatia. So, and because it's not like in US, we only go through process of applying to college and getting into it in our second half of our senior year, and when you get into and it stretches up until late July, so that's why our summer break is a little bit longer. But let's begin. So first prompt for me is mystery thriller, and for that I'll be rereading Blood's Trust by Eric von Lastenberg. This is my dad's book. It's about a secret service agent and a former first daughter of US who is trying to become an FBI agent, and something happens and they need to team up. I don't remember really much about it. And next prompt is poll pick. I just posted the poll in one of my in one of the Discord servers I am a part of, so we'll see some part in the month what book I'll be reading, but books in the poll are Witch-a-thon by Lisa Casey and Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I know that I only recently read this one and reread this one, but one of the later prompts we'll see, but both of these fit one of the later prompts, and depending on which one wins the poll, the other one will be going towards that other prompt, so that's why it's these two. So Witch-a-thon by Lisa Casey's first book in Kitsune Chronicles, in which we are following Sebastian, who is a kitsune, which is a Japanese nine-tailed fox spirit with elemental magic, and he's been on the run ever since something happened to him a year ago, up until now when he bumps into an alpha werewolf named Liam and subcults from there. And Carry On by Rainbow Rowell is about Simon Shaw, who is the worst chosen, not one to ever be chosen, and he goes into to this magical school, and it's his final year, and when his roommate for last 8 years doesn't show up, Simon starts to be suspicious, because his roommate is actually one of the star pupils of their year, and actually son of former headmistress of their school, who actually died when they were 5, and that leads Simon to investigate what's actually going on in the magical world. Then we have a 5-star prediction. For that I'll be reading Preacher's Pleasure Paulina P by Sanya Polak. This is another book in this companion series about Paulina P, who we're following about when she's 2nd or 3rd grade up until when she's 8th grade, and she tells us her stories in diary format. And then the prompt is planets. I forgot to get this one. Okay, so for this one I'll be rereading Aurora Rising again, because it was the only book that I remember that has multiple planets. Because in this series of following Squad 312, which is basically a band of misfits, all because their squad leader Tyler Jones, who was a star pupil in their academy, was late to his graduation because he was saving a girl named Aurora. And when he finally comes, he, instead of picking the best, he ends up with the bottom of the barrel. Now it's their job to save the galaxy. Then we have stars. Then we have a prompt to read the pool book, and thankfully for my August TBR that I'll be using Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Olsen. This is about Amari, whose brother Quinton went missing, and she believes he's still alive, and when she finds a letter, an invitation to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, she decides to join it to find what happened to her brother. And it's blue, and also it's for next prompt, which stars on the cover. I don't know, I think these can be either sparkles, stars, or shards of glass, but I'm not entirely sure, so we'll pretend that they're stars, because I don't have any other book that will fit that prompt. And we have prompt to read the sci-fi, and for that I'll be rereading Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is third book in Illuminate File series, in which are following a group of teenagers connected to the space colony Karenzen 4, which was destroyed with this corporation who now wants to eradicate all evidence of that colony even existing. In this series, in the first book, we're following two characters who manage to evacuate from the colony. In the second book, we're following two characters set on a space station. The characters from the first one were supposed to come to, and in this one, we're following cousin from one of the characters of the first book and her ex-boyfriend, who just happens to work for the corporation that destroyed their space colony. Then it's to read the space book, and that's why I said that I put these two on the poll: Witch, Blood, Belly's Kiss, and Kieran, Barry, and Morale. They both fit this prompt, and depending on which one wins the poll, the other one will be for this prompt. Then we have to read the priestess favorite. I forgot also this one. Priestesses are basically the co-hosts of the readathon, and one of them has a favorite book that I actually own, and it's Serpent and Dove by Shelby McHorn. It's basically after some incriminating things happen, witch hunter and witch have to marry without him knowing that she's a witch. Then is prompt to listen to the audiobook. For that, I'll be listening to an audiobook of Dragonfly in Amber, or Amber, I'm not completely sure. It's second book in Outlander series, in which we're following a woman who, while vacationing with her husband, accidentally travels back in time. And this marriage of convenience between her and one of the Scottish tribe leaders. I read the first book, I listened to the first book over a year ago, so my memory is a little bit fuzzy on it. So then we have a prompt to read the fantasy, and for that I'll be rereading Queen of Shadows by C.R.J. Maas. I'm trying to reread all of these because I read some of them really long ago. This one I read first time 2 years ago during the lockdown, and I'm trying to reread all of them before I go into last two whenever they'll get translated to Croatian, because I read all the earlier ones in Croatian. And this is fourth book in Throne of God series, in which we're following an assassin named Selena Sardotian, who prior to the events of the first book managed to get captured, and now is working as a slave in salt mines. And up until the moment when the captain of the King's Guard comes and takes her to the Crown Prince, who offers her to be his champion in this fight to become King's Assassin in exchange for her freedom. Then we have a prompt to read a book club read, and for one of the book on a part of the August book is no, wait a minute. Was it? Oh, I'll just check because I'm not entirely sure if I wrote down the correct book. So I wrote down the book for September, but October book is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and it will be a reread for me as I read it. In that book we have a story of Achilles retold through perspective of Patroclus. Then we have a free space. Then we have to read the battery, and for that I'll be choosing the book club read. So because during the month we have chats to certain chapters. So then we have books set in the future. For that I'll be rereading Obseo by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Then we have horoscope pick. I couldn't decide how I'll do it, but as I am Pisces, which is a water sign, I chose to read the book somehow connected to water. Is it color to water or any other type? So I'll be reading Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Watson for this one. Then we have Tarot on the Cover, and for that I'll be reading a non-fiction book, which is intuitive tarot to learn the tarot instantly. So it's a non-fiction about reading tarot. And then we have a Great Vibes book, and for that I'll be rereading also a book that I just recently read, and that's Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. From when I'm filming this, I finished it less than a week ago, or exactly a week ago. Less than a week ago. So in this one this second book in Carry On series, and in this one we're following our main characters as they go on a journey to America. Then we have a shiny cover. This book has shiny cover and some shiny illustrations. Dark Rise by C.S. Packet. I only read it a few months ago, I think. In this one we're following a boy named Will, who is an orphan and has been working on the docks up until the moment when he meets this group of people who actually are trying to save the world before Dark Lord rises up again. Then we have poem to read and anticipated read. For me it's Amari and the Night Brothers. Then we have a mystery, and for that I'm not reading one of my dad's books, that's for sure, considering I'm rereading one of them already. For this I'll be rereading also a book that I finished it 4 days ago from when I'm filming this, and it's Anyway, The Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell, which is third book in Carry On series. In this one we're following our main characters as they are trying to get to their normal lives, but not everything goes as planned. And then we have friend pick. For that I'll be choosing any one of these two, depending on which one wants that poll, because some of the people, because I'm not calling one of my friends to recommend me a book that I have. Then we have a book that's over 400 pages. For that I'll be rereading Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Then we have Dark Cover, and for that I chose Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I already am reading this for another readathon, but even though when counting towards readathons, considering I have Bind Up, I count it as one book. When I put it in my spreadsheet, I count it as 7, so to avoid confusion. These 7 books were following a group of kids who all get transported into the land of Narnia, and stuff goes from there. And then we have Deep to read, and for that I'll be rereading Dark Rise by C.S. Packet. This is it for this video. If you liked it, please like, share and subscribe. Down below you have my social media, my email and some other stuff, including one of the announcement videos for this readathon, and I'll see you in the next one.